Sometimes life surprises us in ways we never imagined, and suddenly we find ourselves spending more time alone than we thought we would. That shift can feel heavy, but it doesn't mean your life has stopped. In fact, this might be the moment to gently rebuild your world in new, meaningful ways. I'd like to share 7 small but powerful steps you can take when you find yourself alone. You're not forgotten. You still matter deeply. One thing I often suggest, and I know it may sound simple, is to create a gentle daily routine for yourself. When you're living alone, time can start to blur. You wake up without a plan, maybe skip meals, forget the day of the week. It's not laziness, it's a very real shift that happens when our lives become quiet. Our brains need structure to stay sharp, and our hearts need rhythm to feel safe. Without a routine, even getting out of bed can feel like climbing a hill. I remember speaking with one of my clients, Mary from Seattle. She's 74. After her husband passed away, she told me the days felt like soup, all blended together. He used to enjoy mornings, but now she stayed in bed till noon. Meals became snacks, nights became restless. I just feel like I don't exist on a schedule anymore, she said. We started small. I asked her to write down just 3 things each morning: the time she got up, what she planned to eat, and one thing she wanted to do. Within a week, she felt lighter. By week 3, she said, I'm starting to look forward to my afternoons again. Another client, Leo, 79, set a timer to remind himself to go for a walk at 10 a.m. daily. Now it's his favorite part of the day. What often helps is using a notebook or even a sticky note on the fridge to write a simple plan. Wake up time, meals, movement, rest. You don't need to fill every hour, just anchor the day with a few kind habits that give it shape and meaning. You don't need a packed calendar to feel alive. Her gentle routine is like a warm blanket on a cold day. It wraps you in comfort, helps you feel steady, and reminds you that you still have a place in each day. The next gentle step I often recommend is starting a small, personal tradition just for you. When you're alone, it's easy to feel like there's no reason to celebrate, no rhythm to the week. But without little rituals, the heart can start to feel dull, even empty. We're wired to look forward to things, to mark time in ways that bring us comfort. Traditions don't have to include family or guests. They can be private, cozy, and just as meaningful. A woman I worked with, Elaine from Ohio, age 76, used to host Sunday brunch for her children. But after they moved away and her husband passed, Sundays turned into the loneliest day of her week. One day, she told me how painful it was to walk by the table they used to sit around. I asked her if there was anything she used to love about those mornings. She said the smell of cinnamon rolls. So we came up with a new idea. Every Sunday she'd make 1 cinnamon roll, brew a fresh cup of coffee, and sit by the window with her favorite jazz playing. At first it felt silly, she said, but after a month it became sacred. I don't feel like I'm missing out anymore, she told me. I feel like I'm keeping something alive. Another client, George, 81, watches old westerns every Friday. Night with popcorn. He calls it date night with myself. One of the easiest ways to bring this to life is to pick 1 day a week and give it a name. Monday, soup night. Thursday, letters. Saturday, walk. It doesn't need to be fancy, just something that's yours. Your brain starts to recognize it as special, and your spirit follows. You still deserve joy. You still deserve something to look forward to. These small traditions are like little candles in the week. They light up the dark spots and remind you that you can still create warmth and beauty, even in quiet moments. Another small change that makes a big difference is taking care of your body every single day, even in the simplest ways. When you live alone, it's easy to let certain habits slide, skipping meals, avoiding movement, staying in bed too long. Over time, this can lead to stiffness, fatigue, and even depression. Our bodies thrive on care, and the older we get, the more they rely on us to stay strong, mobile, and well. It's not about looking younger, it's about feeling more alive, more in control, and more connected to the world around you. I once worked with Raymond, a retired bus driver from New Jersey. He was 80 when he told me, I used to walk every day, but now what's the point? He had started spending most of his time on the couch, watching TV, barely moving. He didn't feel hungry, didn't sleep well, and felt like his energy had vanished. We started with 5-minute stretches, Nothing fancy, just shoulder rolls, arm circles, and ankle lifts while sitting down. After 2 weeks, Raymond called and said, "I'm not as sore anymore when I wake up." A month later, he was taking short walks around the block. Another client, Judy, 75, from Tucson, started doing light exercises with soup cans as weights and told me she finally felt like her legs were hers again. What helps most is finding one small movement to do daily. Stretching in the morning, walking to the mailbox and back, or simply standing up and sitting down 10 times. Keep it gentle, keep it regular, and listen to your body with kindness. Your body is still yours. It wants to support you. And even just a few minutes of movement a day can remind you that you are capable, resilient, and still growing. One small step at a time. Something else I always encourage is stepping outside. Even if it's just for a few minutes, when we live alone, it's tempting to stay indoors where it feels safe and familiar. But too much time inside can quietly take a toll. Natural light helps balance your sleep. Movement supports your joints, and even brief contact with other people. A wave, a smile, reminds your mind that you still belong in the world. Staying indoors every day might feel comfortable, but over time it can lead to loneliness and even sadness without you realizing it. I remember a man named Thomas, 79, from North Carolina. He lost his wife and found himself staying inside for weeks at a time. The blinds stayed closed, the television filled the silence, and he began to feel invisible. One day his daughter visited and gently said, "Let's just sit outside for a bit." He told me later, "The sun felt like it was waking me up." From that day on, he began taking his coffee out to the porch each morning. It became his new habit, 15 minutes of fresh air no matter the weather. Over time, he started walking to the corner store. Another woman, Darlene, 82, from Oregon, started feeding the birds in her backyard, and she said it made her feel like something was waiting for her each morning. One of the easiest ways to begin is choosing one part of the day, morning or late afternoon, and stepping outside for a short walk, or even sitting near a window with the breeze coming in. It doesn't have to be far. Just a step outside of your door is a step back into life. You're not meant to be shut away from the world. The sky, the trees, even the sidewalk, they're still here for you. Every time you go outside, even for a moment, you remind yourself, I am still part of something bigger. Another quiet but powerful way to feel more alive is to return to something you used to love, even if it's been decades. When life changes and people drift away, it's easy to forget the things that once made you smile, think, or create. But those parts of you didn't disappear. They're still there, waiting to be invited back in. Reconnecting with an old interest can spark energy, lift your mood, and remind you of who you still are. Beyond age, beyond loss, beyond circumstance. I remember a woman named Sandra, 77, from Illinois. She once painted watercolors in her 20s, but stopped when she got married and raised a family. After her husband passed, she felt numb and unsure of what to do with her long, quiet afternoons. One day, while cleaning, she found her old paintbrushes in a shoebox. They smelled like the past, she told me. She bought a few supplies and began painting again, small landscapes from her window. After a few weeks, she showed me a picture she'd done of her garden. I didn't think I had it in me anymore, she said with tears in her eyes. Another client, Frank, 80, from California, pulled out his harmonica after 30 years. Now he plays for 10 minutes a day and says it gives his breath purpose. What often helps is starting with just 10 minutes. You don't need to be good at it. You don't need to show anyone. Just sit with the thing you once loved, music, writing, sewing, gardening, and let yourself enjoy it again in your own way. You're not starting over. You're picking up a thread that never broke. The things you once enjoyed still know your name, and they're ready to bring joy back into your life, one small moment at a time. Something many people overlook, or even fear, is staying connected through technology. I know screens and apps can feel overwhelming, especially if you didn't grow up with them. But when you're living alone, the internet can become a lifeline, not to replace people in real life, but to gently bridge the gap between isolation and community. With the right support, it's never too late to learn, and even the smallest connection can make your days feel fuller and your heart a little less heavy. I'll never forget Richard, 82, from Minnesota. He used to call cell phones tiny televisions and thought email was just for the young. But his granddaughter helped him set up a tablet. At first, he only used it to video chat with her. Then, one day, she added him to a Facebook group for veterans. Within a few weeks, he was chatting with old friends, sharing photos, and watching videos about history. "I didn't think I'd care," he said, "but now I feel like I'm part of something again." Another woman, Eileen, 76, from Arizona, joined a free online art class through her senior center's website. Every Tuesday, she sets up her little table, logs in with help from her neighbor, and paints with people from across the country. "I look forward to it all week," she told me. "One simple way to begin is to ask a family member or neighbor to help you with just one app. Maybe YouTube for cooking videos or WhatsApp for voice messages." There are also free classes at libraries and senior centers that teach you step by step, slowly and kindly. You're not behind. You're not too old. Technology isn't about being trendy. It's about opening a new door, at your pace, toward laughter, learning, and companionship you didn't know was still waiting for you. One more thing I gently recommend, and it may sound unusual at first, is writing a letter to yourself from the future. When you're alone, especially as you get older, it's easy to feel like life is mostly behind you. That sense of looking back instead of forward can quietly drain your hope. But when you imagine the future with warmth and possibility, even in a small way, it shifts something inside. It reminds you that time is still unfolding, and you're still on the journey. A woman I knew, Carol, 79, from Virginia, once shared with me how lost she felt after her sister passed. "It's like, I'm floating through the days," she said. We talked about ways to reconnect with herself, and I suggested she try something different. Write a letter as if she were 85, looking back on the next 6 years with pride and gratitude. A few weeks later, she showed me what she'd written. She thanked herself for taking walks again, for baking her famous peach pie, for smiling at strangers at the store. "Writing it made me feel like I had something to look forward to," she told me. Another man, Howard, 81, from Maine, wrote a note to his current self, reminding him he was still brave, still capable. He kept it on his nightstand. What often helps is taking 10 quiet minutes to imagine yourself 5 years older, kind, wise, and proud of how far you've come, and simply write what that version of you would want to say. Keep it nearby. Read it on hard days. Add to it as you go. You are still becoming. Just like the seasons, you are not finished. A letter from your future self can be a lantern in the fog, reminding you that more joy, more meaning, and more life still waits gently ahead. If any of these ideas touched your heart, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Your story could help someone else feel a little less alone. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell. I'll be sharing more ways to support your well-being. And please remember this deep down: you are not forgotten, you are stronger than you think. And life isn't over. It's still reaching out to you one gentle day at a time.